Number 2, James Harden has decided Brooklyn is not the only destination he'd like to land in. I wonder where else he's thinking about going. And oh, by the way, did you see those Cowboys last night? Did you see those Cowboys? I tried to tell you, even before Christmas, something's going to happen for those Cowboys.
I think we're a very resilient, mentally tough team. Our only focus is on Dallas right now.
Jackson runs up the middle, big hole, 30, 20, nobody there, touchdown Ravens. Andy Dalton's pass is deflected, and it is picked off. Patrick Queen comes up with it at the 38-yard line. Lamar Jackson with a play action, fires to a wide-open Miles Boykin, a touchdown! And the Ravens turn the turnover into a touchdown, 52 yards. Kick on the way, and is no good. And Greg Zuerlein now 1 of 4 tonight.
And Baltimore defeats the Cowboys 34-17.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, I'm Molly Karen Rose. Fellas, how we feeling? Stephen A., it seems like you're doing just fine.
I'm doing just fine, Molly. I just want to say good morning. You look beautiful as always, Max Kellerman. I like that suit. I like the tie, not the regular old black tie. You sort of changed it up a little bit. Really doesn't matter. I don't know about you, Max Kellerman. Don't know about you, Molly. But I'm in a fine, good mood right now, I must say.
I should have known it would have been Southern Steve today. I know, right? Exactly, Max. But guys, let's focus on the Ravens for a second because they snapped their 3-game losing streak. They ran all over Southern Steve's Cowboys. Baltimore is now 7-5, keeping their playoff hopes alive. They would be the 9th seed currently in the AFC. Steve, what do you think? Is this a good Ravens or bad Dallas Cowboys?
Well, obviously, it's a bad Dallas Cowboys defense. Let's just be real about it. Mike Nolan should have never been the defensive coordinator. It's an absolute embarrassment what they have done. The Dallas defense has basically given up on him. There's no way to slice it. Jalen Smith was out of position about 15 different times. We know he's not that bad. Leighton Vander Esch, I mean, he missed one play where, they were sweeping left, and he just gave the open field to Lamar Jackson. That was stupid on his part. He acknowledged it, but what else could he do? Everybody was watching. And then, of course, you've got the situation, DeMarcus Lawrence and his huge contract, the man that wants to be all conscientious and what have you, outspoken, but he shows up on the field and registers just one tackle. I'm not going to crucify him because I know he's not that bad. They're out of place because they're out of position because they've got a defensive coordinator they have no respect for. They're not listening to. They recognize the fact that he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and their run defense is typified that. The Dallas Cowboys have the sixth ranked defense against the pass. Do you know why they have that, Max Kellerman? You know why they rank 6th against the pass? Because nobody throws on them. Because you don't have to. Because guess what? They're going to give up damn near 300 yards rushing. Do you know that the Dallas Cowboys, the worst run defense in the league and the worst defense overall in the league, because they're the worst run defense in the league, at a time, in a day and age where it's clearly easier to pass than run the football, everyone wants to run the football on the Dallas Cowboys. They have given up 2,014 yards rushing, in 12 games. This is how pathetic they are. They are horrible as a defensive unit. There is no question about that. Andy Dalton didn't play bad. The offense isn't horrific. It's the fact that their defense stinks. Their defensive coordinator has no business having his job. And Mike McCarthy, who elected to bring him on board, shouldn't have his job because that's who he selected as his defensive coordinator. And Jerry Jones needs to retire himself because as a businessman and a marketer, he's an absolute genius. But as a guy that puts a football team together, there's always some part missing. You don't want to sit up there and take care of Dak Prescott, or you want to take care of Dak Prescott, but it's after you take care of Ezekiel Elliott, after you take care of Amari Cooper, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all of this other stuff. But then you're going to bring in a coach that don't need to be coaching any of them. This is what the Cowboys are. They're bad. The black cat is running around all over the place. And for those Dallas Cowboy fans out there, miserable on this particular morning, I couldn't be happier.
Well,
go ahead, Max.
Cowboys are bad, no doubt. But that was actually good Ravens. And look, here's the bottom line. The Cowboys are terrible against the run. They're dead last in rush defense, right? They give up over 160 yards a game on average. Not 300, like you said, Stephen A., over 160. But against Baltimore, they gave up almost 300. Baltimore doubled what the Cowboys normally give up. They didn't beat it by 10 or 20 or 50 yards. They basically doubled it. That's because Baltimore can really run the football. And that's what you're looking for. Lamar Jackson coming off of COVID. Remember when Cam Newton came off of COVID and I was like, something's not right. I think he may be suffering lingering effects. You said the same thing. We don't want to, obviously we're speculating. We're not doctors, and who knows? Even the doctors don't know, right? But he really was playing differently. He just looked physically different, and Belichick came over and gave him a tap. Remember all that stuff? I was looking for that with Lamar Jackson. Let me see how Lamar Jackson looks coming back, because they can't afford any missteps if they want to make the playoffs, the Ravens. With the Titans and the Colts record, they really have to win these games. And Lamar Jackson's performance, whether he can get back on track and kind of resurrect his season because it was trending in the wrong direction, that was really significant. Lamar Jackson was the fastest dude on the field again. And yeah, he missed some throws, but how is that dime to Hollywood Brown? Right? Like, he was showing me enough that says, yup, that's Lamar Jackson. That's Lamar Jackson. And Stephen A., they've come up with Evans and Dobbins to go with Ingram, right? They have basically 4 guys who can run the ball. They can run all over you. And their defensive line wasn't great last night, but generally the Ravens have a stout defense. They really don't give up many points. Their offensive line is winning up front with the run blocking. The Ravens looked, considering what they're coming out of, and let's not forget, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers were coming off that Ravens game, emotional letdown, they lose to Washington. The Ravens are coming off the Steelers game. So they're coming out of COVID, off the Steelers game on a short week. They didn't have normal rest, a little day short because they played on a Wednesday. And yet they doubled the yards on the ground the Cowboys normally give up. No, I think you got to give the Ravens some credit here. And for those like me who think, I think the Ravens, I know the odds are against it, I think they'll make the playoffs. You got to be feeling pretty good about that this morning.
Oh, please. The fact of the matter is, Max Kellerman, the Dallas Cowboys are surrendering 5.2 yards per carry. I mean, that's one of the top 3 worst all time. 5.2 yards per carry. That's how awful they are. I'm talking about collectively over the course of this season. The first 12 games, that's number 1. Number 2, they've given up damn near 300 yards on at least 2 or 3 occasions this year. You can run the football all day long on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm thinking about it. And when I tell you, Max Kellerman, having the numbers right in front of me, when I tell you that they're historically bad against the rush, Max, they're dead last in attempts against them. That means everyone chooses to run on them. They're dead last in the yards allowed, okay, because they give up a whole bunch of yards. They're dead last in yards allowed per carry. This is who they are, okay? So I'm just telling you right now, when you look at them, and oh, by the way, they're number 1 in the league, Max, in pass attempts against them. It means people barely throw the damn football against them, Max Kellerman. That's what I'm talking about here. It's embarrassing. You walk into a game in the year 2020 when all of these rules and regulations have been implemented into the National Football League. I mean, as Ray Lewis once told me, it's damn near, it's a damn shame because you can almost get penalized for having bad breath on a football field. That's how bad it is for defensive players right now. According to the rule that the NFL has implemented, we don't want you touching these dudes. That's why you got teams throwing the football more and more and more every day, because it's tougher to pass, it's tougher to run rather than pass the football. Except for when you're going against the Dallas Cowboys. Then you roll up in there. Doesn't matter that you don't have a number 1 receiver. Doesn't matter that you don't have a number 2 receiver. Doesn't matter if you sit up there and you say to the Dallas Cowboys, look, we're running this way on this play right now. Find a way to stop us. And they still can't do it. You know how you defend the run. It's about gap protection, man. You got to sit up there. You got to stay at home. Do your job. Man your assignment. That's all you got to do. And for some reason, suddenly, these dudes don't want to listen. They didn't have an awful defense 2 years ago or last year. But when this guy, Mike Nolan, arrives, all of a sudden, your defense stinks to the high heavens. I mean, please, it's clearly the bad Cowboys. They can't defend the run. Anybody and their grandmama can run on them. And it's really that simple.
The bottom line is, yes, of course, the Cowboys are the right team to get healthy against. If you're the Ravens, if you've lost 3 in a row, but you're playing really good teams, the Patriots and the Steelers, good teams that can beat you, but you lose 3 in a row. and you lose 4 out of your last 5, of course you want to play Dallas. And yes, their rush defense is the worst in the league, and that says bad things about a defense. Even as a fan, when you watch that, you go, there's something that bothers you the most about a team that can't defend the run. Because it feels like, to a fan, like a lack of desire, a lack of physicality up front. You talk about gap, discipline and all that stuff. So I get all that. But the fact is the Ravens did get healthy against the Cowboys, Stephen A. They did get healthy. And yes, Cowboys given up a lot of yards, like 300 yards 2 or 3 times this season. This is one of those times. So when you look at the character of the Ravens, what do you say? You say, if they're going right, they can run the ball. Check. They doubled the output against the Cowboys that the Cowboys usually give up. They can defend. They weren't great last night, but they didn't give up a lot of points. Even through the losing streak, they really didn't give up a lot of points. Check. And then the question is, can Lamar make some throws? He had a beautiful one to Hollywood Brown. So everything is trending in the right direction. And if you're a Ravens fan, you're happy this morning.
All right. Okay. Dallas, again, to the point we've been belaboring here.